Yeah, we'll get started. The Ala Town Hall has been a series of inspirational talks and also, an opportunity to walk into the minds of people who have made big difference to life as such. And we're very glad that, actually, we've been doing this more like a town hall and have it go to most of our volunteers and voices, volunteers in case of emergency and all that. So as I get started, very briefly, I'm very sure a lot of our volunteers are out there, and the Alert Town Hall is actually going into the FB as a live program for the first time in the series of town halls which were more internally done. So I'm going to start off by giving a very brief intro to what Alert itself is. We are a NGO which is focused on emergency response management, empowering common people when it comes to handling emergencies. Many a times when an event occurs, when an eventuality occurs, it just so happens that apathy sets in. It could be a road traffic accident, or it could be any other medical emergency, and most of the times we are all in a state of shock, and we do not really know what is to be done. And in that direction, until professional help arrives, we are driven by the goal given to us by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, our mentor, who told us one in every family needs to be trained in emergency care. And in that direction, we've reached out to about 150,000 people plus so far. So that's very briefly about Alert and Alert Town Hall. Here today we have a very special guest, somebody whom all of us, many of us, including us at Alert, are well aware of and known to. To give a very brief formal introduction, otherwise I would have just said, "Hey, hi, Sujit." But otherwise, being a town hall, I'm here to sort of give a very formal introduction to my dear friend Sujit. Sujit Kumar is the founder and managing trustee of Matram Foundation, which provides free higher education to meritorious students from the economically weaker section of the society. He has over 20 plus years of experience as a practicing HR professional, and currently works for Infosys Limited. He's well known to us. He is a prominent speaker in student and industry forums and has featured in several TEDx TV and radio talk shows. And he has over 2,400 lectures to his credit, and is very passionate about writing and has penned his thoughts for several magazines and newspapers. A winner of several awards that has come his way. Winner of the Young Achiever Award and Icon of Rotract Award by Rotary International. Recipient of the Changemaker Award in 2014 and Distinguished Alumni of Loyola in 2015. He's also won the Pride of Tamil Nadu Award in 2017 for his work with Matram Foundation, and he is currently part of several academic councils of colleges and a steering committee member of the NASCOM HR Forum and the former president of NHRD chapter in Chennai. We are also very happy to have Sujit on board at Alert as well. Sujit Kumar is is one of the prime members on the strategic advisory board at Alert, and the mission that Alert is here to take forward. So that's Sujit formally to you all, but otherwise a great human being, a wonderful human being, a person whom I have always met with, bearing a smile and infuses positivity in everything that he does through Matram Foundation and even other ways as a human being and a great friend. Welcome Sujit to the Alert Town Hall, where life matters. So today we are here to listen to Sujit talk about. We all know that Sujit is creating a lot of Matram in its truest sense. The word standing for change. For many of us joining the program today who might not understand the Tamil word, we are going to sort of slightly take a relook at this and requested Sujit to walk us through his mind more in terms of, in this journey of him, of you, in creating an impact in the lives of so many people through Matram Foundation. We would sort of like you to throw light on a few things very specifically on those pitch stops, those specific, moments in your life where probably, those moments when it presents itself, you'll see a take diversion kind of a board, right? ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி அந்த டேக் டைவர்ஷன் போர்டு கரெக்டான நேரத்தில் பார்த்து அந்த டைவர்ஷன்ஸ் நீங்கள் எடுத்த சில மொமெண்ட்ஸ் விச் ரிசல்டட் in a change in yourself and the much required matram in you as a person that led to where you are today, and this beautiful work that you're doing through Matram Foundation. So en valkayil matram, the floor is yours. Sujit, had it been a stage, I would have said the stage is yours. Otherwise right now the screen is all yours. Sujit Kumar.
It's on a Saturday evening. It's not a great time for a webinar. In fact, I was telling Rajesh when I had posted about the alert town hall poster on my FB wall, I actually wanted to write one statutory warning saying too many webinars are not good for health, because I think that's what is happening almost every single day. You find webinars, FB live sessions. Almost every Tom, Dick and Harry is doing an FB live right now, which is good. I think people are all voicing out their opinions. And on a Saturday evening, I know that there are a lot many things to do even at home. For those of you who decided to join this webinar, thank you so very much. I really appreciate your time, and let me see what value I can add to the next 60 minutes that we are going to spend together. First thing first, I think I've said this in many places, even to the alert folks. If there is one other NGO which is so very close to my heart, apart from Matram, I think I hold alert right up there. For the simple reason, the kind of work that they do, it's actually a thankless job. See, for us, the difference between what Matram and alert does, Matram's results are quite visible. You see the transformation in a student in 4 years. Now here you have to really get ready, equip yourself for a life-saving moment, and not all the time it can be very pleasant, right? So most often than not, in an unpleasant situation, walk in and try and see saving lives. And in my view, there's nothing comes anywhere close to than saving a life. People really see those volunteers as gods, and I think that is what got me kicked up about contributing my small bit to alert. So all the alert founders, the board team, the advisory board, and more importantly the foot soldiers, to the volunteers, thank you so very much for what you guys are doing. This is truly phenomenal. I think not many people do come forward to that kind of work, and that's the reason why I said alert is extremely close to my heart, and I can never say no to any such request which coming from them. So
Thank you,
Rajesh did set the context very beautifully, and this is one question that is always asked. And I mean, let's be very open in this webinar, right? So there are two ways I can start my introduction, right? When in some of the television interviews and all this stuff, people say, were you like this as a youngster, that you always wanted to help people around you? Sometimes the way they speak to me, I feel as if I have two wings and this white dress and some godly figure kind of a
incidentally
scenario.
You're seeing a lot of wings
very
going on in the FB.
Yeah, in the FB as well. But and standard question is, were you like this as a kid? Were you always being helpful and all this stuff? Now, let honestly tell you, Matram was not even in my dreams. I never thought I'm going to start an NGO, and it was an accident. And I always believe to human beings like us, such positive accidents always happens around us. What you call as an accident or an incident.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who pay attention to those actually pick up some learning and try and apply them in their life. So when Rajesh asked me about significant moments in your life, in my life, which changed about my perspective, I can think about 3 incidents, 3 stories that I wanted to share with you. As a school kid, was extremely naughty, not too very inclined in academics. I was always good with sports, co-curricular activities, because anything inside the class didn't excite me. I was always an outstanding student, and I did my best I loved the center of attraction in school. I was always surrounded with a lot of friends all the time. And in ninth standard, something very strange happened. There was this Rotarians who walked into my school, and they wanted to start something called the Interact Club. Mostly for school kids. So typically students from 9th standard to 12th standard are part of the club. And that day when the Rotarian was discussing with the school principal, I walked in for a circular. I was an assistant school pupil leader then, class 9. I walked into the principal for a circular to be signed. And they were discussing about who to appoint as a president. And as I was waiting, my principal asked the president, so what are the qualities that you look for student who has to be a president of the Interact Club? He looked at me and he said, somebody like this boy. Okay, he had no clue who I am. And he said, somebody like this boy. And that's how I became the Interact president of my school. I had no clue on what it was about. 1 month passed, and the Kanchi Mutt, I studied in Shankara Vidyalaya in Tambaram, and it was run by the Kanchi Mutt. The Kanchi Mahaperiyar, Shankaracharya, had launched a project called Pidi Arisi Tittam. So he said each family can give 1 pidi arisi, right, and of rice, and that can be collected and can be given to for a very, very simple project. So my school said, as interactors, would you want to take up this particular project? And trust me, as a 9th standard kid, I thought, what's the point? Just one handful of rice, how is it going to make a difference? And that's how much common sense I had. And when you go and ask somebody for rice, nobody's going to give you 1 handful of rice. They'll give you 500 grams, 1 kg or whatever, right? So we said, as interactors, that should be our first project. And we were all kicked up. You can imagine 9th standard kid enthusiasm, 30 of us on the streets. We went around the neighborhood in our school, door to door, and we said we wanted to collect rice. And a lot of them some of them gave 5 kg, some of them gave 10 kg, some of them said, you know what, I'm going to give you money, you can buy 1 gunny bag full of rice. And that's when I realized that there are 2 forms of rice. In Tamil, they say pacharisi and pulungalarisi. So people say don't mix both and things like that. And what happened was miraculous, in about 2 weeks, we almost collected close to 500 plus kgs of rice, and that came in 4-5 large gunny bags. And we were extremely thrilled about it. So I asked the Rotarian, where are we giving this to? And he said, we'll be giving this to a leprosy home near Mahendra City. Incidentally, that's where I work right now. There was a leprosy home, and he said, that's where we are going to go give. And so they took us. They took about 7 of our school students to this place. Trust me, I was just waiting for an opportunity to come out of that place. So there was some function, Rotary function, all the stuff. As an Interact president, I was made to sit on stage, and I was just shivering in fear because that was not a very pleasant place to be in. People with no fingers in their hands and in legs, and the place was stinking, and I just wanted to get away of that place. So they gave that rice, and they put me in the school van, and I came back. And this happened on August 15th of 1990 for the Independence Day. I still remember. And I forgot about it, and I didn't feel anything great about doing that because as a kid I was petrified about that whole place. 2 months later, my dad used to have a Lambretta scooter, and he used to take me around. And on a Sunday evening, he was just taking me around the Tambaram market, and we were standing by a traffic signal, okay, because there was and suddenly I found a person who was affected by leprosy begging in that signal, and he saw me from a distance, and he made way to come closer to my dad's scooter, right? And I didn't notice him. I thought he's coming to collect money. He just came straight to my dad, and I will never forget what he did. With absolutely no fingers in his hands, he did this. He did this to my father. He said this in Tamil. நல்ல புள்ளைய பெற்றிருக்க, நல்ல புள்ளைய பெற்றிருக்க, இந்த பையனால தான் நாங்க 3 வேளை சாப்பிடுறோம். And I just couldn't recollect what he was trying to tell me. And that's when it struck me that he's talking about 2 months back when I visited the leprosy home, because he only saw me on stage, though all my friends contributed. He just came and blessed, and he just left.
Wow.
My dad couldn't understand. And then he asked me what happened. I said, no, this is the project that I went there and gave it. Looking back, that had a huge impact on me. Okay. Now, that impact stayed with me for the next 3 years. And I said, Interact was a way to reach out and help people. in whatever little ways you can. You know, as a school student, you'll all have limitations. You have the 10th board exams, 12th board exams, and stuff like that. But I was part of every single project, small project, and I will never forget that face that walked up to the traffic signal and he said, "Thank you very much." He literally blessed me that day, and he literally blessed my dad as well. And that's the day I thought giving can be an addiction, making a difference can be an addiction, right? That's one of my most life-changing moment. I mean, otherwise I still think I would have been an extremely playful kid, which I am. Okay, I'm still a prank master. I do whatever. But I think where did that come up? Probably that incident changed my life. Fast forward 4 years later, 94, my 12th results was out. I didn't do too well in my 12th standard. All my friends went into engineering and I went into an arts and science college. I studied in Loyola. And the same Rotarian walked up to me again and he said, "Now that you're passed out of school, there is something called Rotract you can join. And Rotract is for college students." And this time I asked him, "So what do you do?" He said, no, we will give you the place you can meet. You have to do some community projects. We'll give you tea, coffee, samosa, etc. And now I was missing my school friends very badly, all of them in various colleges. And my crooked mind inside says, "Look, somebody's giving tea, coffee, and samosa. He's also giving the place. What's the harm? Friends will join together and meet up." So we started the Rotaract Club of Tambaram. Again, I happen to be the charter president of that club. First 3 months, not a single project done. Okay, so the Rotary president walked up to me 3 months later in September of 94, and he asked me, "Sir, Mr. Sujit, you're the president and not a single project you have done. So why don't you think about something?" I said, "Sir, I have no idea what to do." And he pulled out an envelope and he gave it to me and he said, "See if you can do something about it." Right? That envelope was a scholarship request from a student by name Sendil Velan. And he had got his admission into the MIT campus in Brompet for his BTech program. He was already studying BSc, okay? And in 90s, it's very common people do this two bachelor's degree. So he was a BSc mathematics student in a college in Chennai, and he has got his BTech admission. And he wanted to buy a scientific calculator, for which he had sent a request to the Rotary Club, which was passed on to us. Now, I scored 71 in mathematics, not out of 100, out of 200, managed to just pass. So I didn't have the courage to go and ask my dad, "Will you give me about 300 rupees for me to buy a scientific calculator?" Cost of a scientific calculator at that point in time was about 2,700 bucks. So I went and lied to my father. I said, "I want to buy a book." Dad gave me 200 rupees. So we told my friends in Rotaract, "Let's buy this and give it off because we have not done anything." So we collected that money. We bought that scientific calculator. And I didn't meet Mr. Sendil, who's the beneficiary. But before buying this calculator, there was a lot of debate which was going on in our mind. Should we even take it up? You know why? That request came from a college which is very, very famous for strikes and this bus day celebrations, goons, the kind of gundaism that these colleges do. I don't want to name the college. Some legendary people have also studied in that college. But 90s, they were like, people used to be scared of these colleges. And the request came from that college. So my friend said, "Why do you want to provide scholarship to a student from that college?" Then the other friend who opened the letter found this mark sheets attached. And he said, and this is exactly what he said in Tamil, "Machan, evlo mark irukkan parra." And I opened the mark sheet. 3 years, 5 papers each, 15 papers, all 15 papers that dad scored 100 out of 100.
Wow.
All 15 papers, 100. And that's a college where hardly classes happen. So we said, "Boss, come watch me. We have to buy a scientific calculator." So we all pulled in money. We bought a scientific calculator and we gave it to him. This happened in September of 1994. We forgot about it. And apparently Sendil said thank you to the Rotary president and all stuff. Done. Fast forward 4 years later, 1998, I get a letter to my residence. And this time it was in the BHEL letterpad.
Okay.
And I still remember word by word of what was written there. So it read, "Dear Rotractor Sujit Kumar, thank you for your timely help of helping me provide a scientific calculator. Words can't express how useful it was to help finish my BTech degree in MIT. I will ever remain indebted to you. I'm campus placed with Bharat Heavy Electronics in Trichy with a salary of 26,500 rupees. Please find attached a check for rupees 13,000, which is 50% of my salary in favor of Rotaract Club of Tambaram. The other 50% I've already donated to an orphanage in memory of my mother who's no more. Thank you, and I will ever remain grateful to you," and blah, 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 right? I literally got goosebumps. Now, 4 years back, it was given more as a challenge, saying, boss, 3 months you have eaten samosa, tea, coffee, you have not done anything. Why don't you just take this up? And we could just, for frankly, 2,700 rupees for about 30 of us was no big deal. But the way it came back is 4 years later, he's giving me a check for 13,000 rupees for charity. And he says, please feel free to contact. Now, 2020, we are in 2020. I'm still in touch with Sendil. Sendil works for the UNICEF right now as a project director. Okay. The amount of money that he has sent in for some of our projects will run into lakhs and lakhs and lakhs.
Wow.
Right? Now, that is how he is trying to repay. And he says, any interesting project, let me know, because I got helped by somebody. Right? Now, that is where I believe that giving is an addiction that way, because it changes lives of people. And I always believe if we can fairly inculcate the habit of giving among young children when they're fairly young, right? I think we will create people with a lot more empathy, right? Now, look at just what's happening right now, my dear friends, right? If we have that empathy as one of the topmost portion, I don't think there'll be so much of suffering in the streets right now, right? Of course, we all cannot do what the government can do, right? We call our own workers from another state as migrant workers, and that's the most ridiculous statement to make, right? So if I'm an IT workforce today and I am from Rajasthan and I come and work for Infosys in Chennai, nobody calls me an IT migrant workforce, right? Nobody calls an actor as an IT, as a migrant actor, as a migrant doctor, migrant engineer. But poor workers, when they come from one state to another, and within our country, we call them migrant workers. Look at, it's sometimes very cruel for a girl to travel with 1,500 kilometers with her dad, and we are making a joke by saying we are going to send you for a cycle trials, right? Ironically, then we have to send a lot of people walking from one part of the country to the other part of the country for walkathons. That is something which is extremely cruel. And if you notice, it is going down to one simple quality, that it is lack of empathy. If that one empathy quotient is there amongst leaders, amongst these decision makers, I don't think we will allow a large section of our society to go through this grind. And these are two stories which strongly was drilled into my mind. Look, no matter what, no matter how big you become in your professional career or whatever, empathy is the important thing which is going to define who you are. And the last and the most important, this story has been told in many stages, in multiple forums, but that's a story of how I started Matram Foundation. And frankly, if I did not encounter this girl way back in 2013, I don't think I would have even started Matram Foundation. And that is brutally me being honest. Because in my wish list, even in my wildest dreams, I didn't think I'm going to start an NGO. I was an extremely career aspiring person. I wanted to be the CHRO of a large IT firm. I want to be extremely popular. I wanted to be on stage all the time, speaking to thousands and thousands of people, because that was what's giving me the kick and all the stuff. But God has different plans. He puts across these life-changing moments around you and make you pause for a while and make you think, boss, are you in the right direction? So even today, friends, I work for Infosys. But there is Sujit in Infosys till 2013 was very different to the Sujit in Infosys after 2013. Till 2013, I used to fight with my boss. I used to ask him, why am I not getting the top rating? Why am I not getting promotion ahead of time? I'm contributing so much, blah, blah, blah. Typical, that corporate mentality, right? You want fast promotion, fast increments. You want to show off things. You are the fastest growing guy and all this stuff. And that's how it was. And my Saturdays and Sundays was a very different life altogether. I was into public speaking, more true into career counseling. So in Madurai, I came across this girl, and this is an incident which really changed my life for the better completely. And I finished my career counseling session, and there was this girl who walked up to me and he said, that's how she introduced herself. She didn't introduce her name and all this stuff. She said, I need to get a job. So when I asked her a little more about her, I got to realize that she is, her mother passed away. Father is the only person in the family along with her two siblings. Father is an alcoholic. And thanks to a low-income family, many of these guys they spend their life in the Taskmart shops. And I asked her, so who's helping you with your education? She said, I work in 4 houses as domestic help. And that's how I support my brothers and sisters. So she has 1 brother and 1 sister. And I asked her her routine, and she says that gets up at 3 o'clock every day in the morning. Okay, தமிழ்ல ஒரு saying இருக்கு, 3 மணிக்கு எழுந்தால் முனிவன். Okay, and even today in Tamil Nadu there are girls who get up at 3 o'clock. 3 to 5 she works. She studies. 5 to 6 she cooks food for her siblings. 6 to 8 she goes for her work, and then she comes and takes the two siblings to school. Evening the same routine. 8 to 11 she studies. 11 o'clock she hits bed every day. I gathered, she was like a superstar standing right in front of me. And every time I will go one step forward, she will go 2 steps backward. Let me tell you, my dear friends, I cannot, the memories are so fresh. I still remember the dress that she was wearing. Somebody has given her that old salwar kameez, right? Some landlord would have given the old salwar kameez. And it was not her size, it was really huge. And that girl was very thinly built. So every time I'll go one step forward, she'll go 2 steps forward. And she says, Anna, konja seekiram solreengalaa, நான் 45 நிமிஷம் தான் பர்மிஷன் கேட்டு வந்திருக்கேன், லேட்டா போனா எனக்கு அந்த வீட்ல வேலை போய்டும், திட்டுவாங்க. I asked her, how much have you scored in 12th standard? She said 12th result வரலனா, ஆனா நான் இது வரைக்கும் வாங்குனதிலே கம்மியான மார்க் 1154. She said 1154 out of 1200 is the lowest mark she has scored. And if I have to look at my 12th marks, I need to multiply my 12th marks by 2 to get there. And here is a student who's standing there wanting to study. And let me tell you, my dear friends, this is my moment of enlightenment. When somebody comes and asks you for help, the first thing most of us do will be to pull out our wallet, open, and offer money. Depending on how much you want to give is up to you. But it could be ranging from 10 rupees to 1,000 rupees or even sometime more. I have done it, most of you would have done it. That day, it didn't strike me. I didn't want to give money, okay? But I didn't know what to do. There's no idea about NGO and all this stuff. I pulled out my business card and I gave it to her. And I said, call me in 1 week, by which time you will get your results. Let me tell you, I'll figure out what I can do for you. Now, when I was going from Madurai to Salem for the next 4 hours, the thought about this girl kept coming over and over again. Okay? And I said, I have to do something about it. And many times, my dear friends, please listen to that inner voice. For some of us, that inner voice always talks about negativity, right? It talks about, even when you want to take one step forward, the inner voice will say, big deal here. What's a big deal? Okay, stay put. Okay, that inner voice we keep listening. But sometimes, for few of us, that inner voice also gives you that positive stroke. Do something about it. This is impacting you, right? When you see somebody on the road, you just can't let go. And that's the difference between an alert volunteer and an ordinary volunteer. See, when an accident happens, everybody stops the car. Okay? Everybody stops the two-wheeler and they look around. Okay, what a gory accident. And some of us have the audacity to take a picture and post it on Facebook or a selfie. Okay. But if you are an alert volunteer, if you are a person with empathy, you will park that car in the corner, or you will park your bike in that corner and go and do what is need to be done at that particular stage. It could be calling an ambulance or providing an emergency response to the patient or whatever. Right? Now, the classic case is that inner voice tells you, prompts you to do something. And that day, the inner voice told me, do something about it. See what you can do about it. And I was like many of us, when we are idle, we browse through the mobile phone. I was just browsing through the mobile phones. And I saw a pattern of numbers in my phone book. And I figured out, suddenly, more than HR professionals in my phone book, there was a lot of college chairmen and school chairmen's numbers that I had, because I've been going and delivering talks and all these colleges. Until 2013, I didn't charge a single penny for my talks. I said, I'm full of APC, not help from one college. So I called a college chairman in Chennai, randomly. And I said, sir, I met across a student like this. Academically brilliant. She will 100% score more than 1,154. Incidentally, she scored 1,172 out of 1,200 when the 12th results came in. If you don't mind, can you give me one free engineering seat? And I said, let me not ask free. If you give me a free engineering seat, I will come and train your student first. Because a lot of colleges even today thinks if an HR guy comes and trains, suddenly all the students will become intellectual and they'll clear campus placement. So I said, I will come and train your students. And he was silent. He said, I'll give you 20 seats because I wanted to do some amount of charity. I don't have the bandwidth to do this. If you're okay, you take it up. And I don't know what to do. How will I go and source for 20 students? But something that day, the inner voice again told me, look, this is not going to be small. This is going to be really, really big. Okay, I didn't name it Matram and stuff like that. I went and discussed with few of my friends in office. I said, we have an opportunity. My colleague Punita, Krishna, Aditya, these guys. And they said, no, look, why not? We'll try. And that's when the other angel in my life, Ajay Balaji, I was just discussing with him. And he said, let's do a radio show and take the message to the larger world. And that's how we started Matram Foundation. The first girl that we placed in Chennai, she currently works for an IT major based in Bangalore, almost earning about 12 lakhs. And the rest is history. Now, the first college was the only college where we went and asked for a seat. All other colleges which followed came forward, they looked at our work, and they said, you take free seats from us. So Matram today, we are a pretty unique NGO that way. We don't pay fees. We only source free seats. We place our students in these colleges. We train them. We have about 937 students studying across 35 different colleges and universities across the country. Today, we have our students in Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka, in Bangalore, and in Delhi for the last 2 years in Delhi. And you can imagine if you have to educate 937 students and approximately with about 10 lakhs in engineering, how many crores you have to generate. Okay, so the model is very, very simple. We kept the model very simple. So there is a giver and there is a taker, and we wanted to bridge the two, and we wanted to maintain dignity in growth. So few things that I'll just take a minute to talk about some of the core values of Matram,
Sure.
because that might resonate with you guys.
Sure.
One, we said our beneficiaries' pictures, videos, names, actual names will never be revealed to the common public. So which means you go to our website, you will not find the actual beneficiary name, picture, whatever. Because we realized that the giver is always happy. When I want to donate 1 lakh, I want to pay fees 50,000 rupees, I'm very happy. The receiver need not necessarily be happy. And especially if you're calling the receiver on stage and giving it in front of so many people clapping, and it is actual exploitation. So we said we will never do that. So we even request colleges, please protect the identity of our students. Even today, when my students are fairly successful, we avoid it. We said we will not reveal the identity. Nobody needs to know that you studied in a foundation. You are getting a job purely on your merit, so go for it. Second, we also said the moment you say NGO, there are 2-3 things which strikes us. Okay, the NGO founder will be 60 plus, and there will be some sobbing pictures, and then you will, more than anything else, there will be a donation button which will hit you on the face all the time. Donate 300 rupees. You can make a difference to somebody else's life. Stuff like that. We said money is very important, but we said, can we try and limit it to as much as possible? So even today, if you have to donate to Matram, you'll have to take quite an effort to write to us, and we share the account number. We have not published our account number in our website, which means we don't take public donations. We only take donations on a need basis. Like, for example, for the COVID situation, we are supporting about 800 to 900 families right now, 50% within Matram. The remaining 50% is in about 7 villages in Erkat, where people have contributed, and we use that money to pay it back. Otherwise, we said we will try and limit the funding part, so which means we don't take active public donation. And the third point, my dear friends, to pursue, to start an NGO, you don't need to give up your corporate look. If you don't need to give up what you're passionate about, is something that we learned. So all 10 of us are full-time working professionals. Today there is a concept of gig worker, right? So you have two varied interests. So I cannot compromise on my HR. I love my profession. So I'm a full-time HR professional. At the same time, I also manage an NGO. People always ask me, how do you do it? You have great set of people to work with you. You set process in place. Then you become an overhead. So today my team really runs it, and I do webinars like this and sharing stories as such. So net in all these three, if you see, this is positive influence, and as long as we learn from this influence, life becomes beautiful. Though we started Matram in 2013, it was only somewhere in 2015 we registered as Matram as NGO. And when we registered the name, Matram means transformation. We thought we are bringing transformation into people's lives. Little bit did we realize it is exactly the opposite. I have become a better person, number one. My empathy quotient has gone up. So in the last 2 minutes, after which I will open it up to Rajesh. So what has Matram done to me as an individual? Okay. I wouldn't have known what is the struggle of a parentless child if not for Matram. Today I have about 200, 250 kids who don't have children. I know what it means. I know what it means. One of the child for whom I'm a local guardian, she's now staying in Tiruvannur. All her dream was to stay in a house of her own. So today she has a house of her own. She lost her parents back to back in 2 years. And the joy with which she says, sir, ஏன் பெட்டு சார் என்னோட அல்மேரா. And she says, வீட்டுக்கு போனா அல்மேரா இருக்க ஒரு வீடு வேணும் சார். I always wanted to keep my things because all along she was in hostel and she was given the least priority of dumping both the soiled clothes and the new clothes into the same bag. You never realize. You sometimes take things for granted. Now that was my biggest learning. Second, little bit we realized we would have stopped a few child marriages, right? We have rescued people from child marriage, and these are girls who are studying in some of the top-notch engineering colleges. Just before COVID, I got two girls from Trichy who are now signing up for an internship with a company called ThoughtWorks, out of which then I was talking to each one of them, saying, what does this job means to you? Each one of them was giving a reason. This one girl who told me, sir, எனக்கு இந்த வேலை ரொம்ப முக்கியம் சார். ஏமா இந்த வேலை கிடைக்கலன்னா என்ன கல்யாணம் பண்ணி வச்சிருவாங்க சார். நீங்க 4 வருஷம் டைம் கேட்டீங்க, அந்த 4 வருஷம் எங்க அப்பா ஒத்துக்கிட்டாரு. இந்த வேலை கிடைச்சதுன்னா 1-2 வருஷம் தள்ளி போட்டுருவேன் சார். So for some of us we take education for granted. So I learned these are girls who are fighters, right? We have stopped child marriages. We have actually got entire village educated because one girl from the village came to us for higher education. Now she has gone and created that ripple effect. Same happens in Alert. One volunteer creates that ripple effect in so many other volunteers bringing it. So that has happened. I have started appreciating food, my dear friends. I used to crib about food all the time. Okay? Looking at what my children were eating back at their homes. When I put them in Satyabama University, Satyabama University is very, very famous, not just for their education, but also for the food. You cannot get into that college and come out without eating. So there are times when I go and ask these children, college எப்படி இருக்கு? What is this that you're liking in the college? One girl showed me this and she said, அண்ணா 3 வேளை சாப்பிட்றேன்னா. In 1 year they come and tell me, அண்ணா நான் வெயிட் போட்டேன் பாருங்க. And suddenly, and you realize nutrition is something which we take for granted. I started appreciating food. More importantly, I've started, for the last 6-7 years, I think I have my foot on the ground. Till 2013, there was a touch of arrogance. There's this attitude, I'm the HR guy in Infosys. I'm the sought after speaker and all this. Nothing of that. I think it's all done and dusted. It just tells you you are a nobody in front of these children. Started enjoying some of the simplest moments in life. I think these simple moments, right? Can you imagine, just I got a WhatsApp message last year from Kumaraguru College. One girl sent a bowl of ice cream as a WhatsApp message. And she says, Anna, this is the first time ice cream saapurren. And that just shook me. And I sent that message to the joint correspondent, Shankar Vanavarayan. I said, look, this is the girl whom you have given the admission. And Shankar instead tells me, one of my Matram student, when he interviewed, what do you like about this college? He said, sir, இதான் முதல் தடவை நான் 3 மாடி இருக்கிற பில்டிங்க்கு வந்திருக்கேன். அந்த தேர்ட் ஃப்ளோர்ல என் கிளாஸ் ரூம் இருக்கிறதே அவ்வளோ ஒரு கெத்தா இருக்கு சார். No, these are just simple things that we take for granted. I've started being grateful for every single day. There's no guarantee tomorrow morning all of us will wake up. Morning when you get up, I started being grateful. When I look at these children and the kind of energy with which they approach life is like fantastic. Resilience, and I can go on and on and on. The last two things, girl children, I think they have become my favorite. Yeah, I have a son at home. I have one son at home and 937 outside. And out of these girls are like my favorites, right? The struggle with which they approach life, I think the resilience that they have is fantastic. 750 of 937 students are girls. And the last and most importantly, my dear friends, is they have taught me how to dream big. They have literally taught me how to dream big. I just want to conclude with that, saying, okay, there's this guy called Sharath whom we edited in Matram. Okay. One of our favorites. He's a first batch student. He looks like a bodybuilder. Academically brilliant, 194. When he came to us, he said he wanted to do civil engineering. I said, boss, being an IT guy, I said, do computer science engineering, you can go abroad. He said, no, civil engineering. I said, why? He said, appa kottanar sir, avaroda or level mela poganum. So he started doing civil engineering. Somewhere in the second year, he walked up to me and he said, I wanted to go to IIT Madras. Okay. I thought, okay, just like this N2 kid, he's also saying IIT Madras. I said, boss, getting into IIT is very tough. You have to work hard. I tried convincing him to IT jobs. He said no. Civil service, I put him on to Lieutenant Eason, one of my friends, to say, boss, can he be trained in civil service? He said no. he only wanted to get into IIT Madras because he kind of liked a particular professor there who teaches structural engineering. 4 years went by, he didn't sit through campus interviews and all this stuff because his dream was to get into IIT. And at a particular point in time, I thought he was acting a little stupid. I don't know how he's going to manage. For the next 1 year, it was good with Max. He used to take morning, he'll take Max tuition. Evening, he used to work as a bouncer. So he was delivering his talk in Sairam College, where we used to do our annual conference. He was wearing a blazer, and suddenly he removed his blazer and he was wearing a T-shirt inside, and in the T-shirt he read bouncer. And he looked at the Sairam College CEO and he said, "Sir, neenga enak sambalam kuduthirukeenga. I have come and worked here as a bouncer for Beta audio release and Sarkar audio release. I have come and worked here as a bouncer." And he actually said this, and he said, in a pub when I was working as opening the door, I saw my own classmates coming with their girlfriends inside the pub, and everybody looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" Because he was academically brilliant. And that's when he spoke to one of my co-founder who said, "Look, your dream of getting into IIT is the dream. Okay, what you're doing right now is only to try to make two ends meet. Focus on your dream." Last year, 2019, he comes home with the admission letter that he has got admission into IIT Madras for his MS in structural engineering. He gets a stipend of 25,000 rupees from IIT. And he taught me how to dream big. And I asked him, "Sharad, so what next? Will you get placed?" He said, "Listen, I will come out of IIT Madras as Dr. Sharad." Okay. Wow. Now, even when I feel low, it is examples like these. When I think, I wanted to enroll for my PhD program, but I've been postponing it for the last 2 years. So now I'm busy. Sharad comes and coolly tells me, "Look, it's quite possible." As a college kid, I didn't understand the difference between IIT and ITI. But today I have these children coming and teaching life's lessons like nobody else's business. So what these books can't teach me, okay? So we all look for motivation from different sources. What these books can't teach me, these children teach me in simple conversation. They'll just floor you with that one statement. But net, my dear friends, if I have to summarize in one statement, I think for sure I can guarantee that I'm a better human being. And that is what Matram has done to me. Matram as an organization has done to me. So I'll stop here. I'm sure Rajesh will have few questions. Thank you very much. It was such a pleasure talking to you.
Beautiful, Sujit. As always, it's a what do you call? It's a tsunami of positivity. Every time I hear to you, and every time every listener listens to you, I'm just going to very quickly acknowledge the presence of a few of them who are wishing you through the Facebook. Hello from Kala. Sakshi Chauhan says a hi to you. Krish watching. Of course, the chairman at Alert, Mike Muralidharan, saying a hi.
Sir.
Sharky looking forward to Sujit's talk. Ravichandran Balakrishnan saying it's very motivational. Vigneshwaran Kumaravel saying glad to hear. And our very lovely Krishna Prasad Aditya are all online listening to you. Babu Krishnamurthy, the last time we had A.S. Kumar saying a hello to you. He was in a town hall last time. Mike to you says your good intention brought the Madurai incident into your life. And
thank you.
As always, goosebumps. That's the kind of messages that we are seeing. So grateful to listen to all these beautiful life moments that you shared, Sujit, and I think some very key takeaways. Some sentences that hit hard. I think its truth is the giving can become an addiction. So beautiful, as you said. Every one of us would love to have that kind of an addiction, and I think probably should work towards having that kind of an addiction. And you spoke about empathy, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. Something at Alert we also keep insisting upon. When somebody is in an emergency, look through the eyes of the person's shoes. Empathy, it's all about that. And listen to the inner voice. Most of the incidents that you said, I really realized that they are probably incidents that I think you had the eyes and ears to really listen to it and actually watch it. Many incidents happen in our lives all around us, but how many of us are watching it? And I think that's again something that I'm personally learning from you, that keep your eyes open, not to see but to watch. Keep your ears open, not to just hear but actually listen to what's going on. Yes. And and don't give up. And the beautiful, absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us, and I'm very sure that the volunteers are taking away a lot from what you said today. A couple of questions. Yes, of course, I have more. I'm asking from a voluntary angle, and I also urge our listeners today at in the Facebook to, if you have any questions, please do drop in a note, and I'm very sure Sujit will be happy to address all of them. I'll get started with a few of it. One is,
Sure.
you are a very, we have heard, I've heard your talks many a times. You speak about how you started off your career as a, in Pizza Corner, and then now you're actually a very busy person, probably responsible, accountable for close to 40,000, 45,000 people, heading HR of a company, and that's not a small thing to do, and I'm sure that takes most of your time. You did speak to us about what you get out of it, and how things have changed you in your life. And if I can sort of bucket them as, many a times who are getting into social giving, there is one question everybody faces. இதில் உங்களுக்கு என்ன சார் பயன், இதுலேருந்து உங்களுக்கு என்ன கிடைக்குது? If you were to put it in business terms, what is the return on investment? So much you are investing into this, what is it that you get as a return? You partially answered some of it. But my question to you is, when you have such a asking career to also look at, in terms of time, a beautiful point you point out is you do not have to give up some of these things to get into the aspects of enjoying what it means to give. But I'm sure this is something which runs in the mind of many volunteers. Many people who want to take to social life and start doing something that bothers them about their community and all that. I'm sure it'll be great for you if you could sort of share how you handle it when you go through that kind of a thing. Time, how do you manage? One. Two, I'm very sure there would have been setbacks in your efforts. We spoke about pit stops, but what about pitfalls? Sometimes there would have been many pitfalls that you had to very carefully traverse yourself into. I'm packing a few questions into this, but I'm hoping that you would have got where I'm sort of getting to. There must be a leaf or two that our volunteers can take out of.
Okay, need a separate webinar for this, but I'll try and address most of it. If I miss out something, you do point it out, Rajesh. Now,
Yeah.
First thing first, when it comes to career, I always believe go beyond your goal sheet. What is there in your goal sheet? If you're going to just do it, you will be an ordinary guy. And most of us work for the end appraisal. Okay, now that is something which I learned from my first manager, who said always go beyond the goal sheet. So, simple example: when I joined Infosys as an HR executive, that was almost like an admin role. Right? From Pizza Corner, I joined Infosys as an admin role. What I got fascinated in Infosys was the training. Okay, I always found trainers came from Bangalore. They used to do this training session, and I will be the admin guy. We'll go set the classroom, give the attendance sheet. It's like a glorified admin job. Then I started watching these sessions, and I said, why can't I do these training programs? And then they said, no, training is a different function altogether. It's not even part of HR. So I wrote to the head of training saying, I'm very interested. Would you mind training me? Then the person reverted saying, yes, I can, but it will not be part of your goal sheet. You will have to do outside of this work. So I negotiated with my manager. My manager said, as long as your work does not get impacted, you are free to do training. So every Friday for the next 3 years, I did stand-up training. And what I got fascinated is your name will be listed with some of the Infosys best trainers, and your score will be right in the top, right? Now that gave me a kick. But will my manager give me the weightage for that in my appraisal? The answer is no, because that is what a gentleman agreement was about. Now, if I hadn't ventured out into training, I don't think I'll be doing so many programs today. Training led to public speaking, faculty development workshops, student training, and stuff like that. So always have the vision that if that is something that you enjoy, go for it. Okay, and anywhere people who go down the goal sheet, always do that. Number one. Number two, if you're in a corporate career, please understand there is a saturation point for each one of us. The moment we realize what is our saturation point in our careers, it will be blissful. All want to be called by different designation: manager, senior manager, associate vice president, senior vice president. The role is just the same. It's just the number which keeps increasing. So I have seen people, I am only an SVP, he's an EVP, and he loses his sleep over it. What is the big deal? Maybe a few thousand rupees extra, but are you happy at the end of the day is a larger question. So even in this entire thing, on the career front, have I missed out? Yes, I lag behind by a couple of years. That's possible because the moment I started Matram Foundation, I had to give up my recruitment role. I didn't want to go on campus recruitment to colleges because it will be a conflict of interest. So I told my boss, I have to give it up because it will be a conflict of interest. But having said that, if Infosys was not part of my life, I don't think Matram also I would have been able to manage because my manager clearly understands what I'm passionate about. So it is very important to know what you are, what you're good at, have a healthy relationship with the manager, talk about your dreams of what you want to do, and more importantly, know what is your saturation point. Don't just blindly look for a designation which will keep moving up. Understand whether you're going to be happy about doing it at the end of the day. So that is what has worked for me. Sometimes it might sound philosophical, but I care two hoots about what my colleague has got, what rating he has got, what amount of money he has got. Has he got ESOPs and stuff like that? Because that is what my children are teaching me in Matram Foundation. So that's the beauty of the work front. Point number two, I have the ability to recruit some of the smartest people in my teams, and that is non-negotiable. So when I recruit somebody, even if it is about 2 levels lower in the job level, I look for smart people. I make exceptions to hire smart people because smart people work extremely smart. They make your goal sheet look smarter. So even today, the people who report into me are about 2-3 times smarter than me. So at the end of the day, they get the job done, right? So it's very important that you trust your team members, work on their strength. The same holds good in Matram. Matram will not be successful as what we are if not for the other 10, 11 co-founders that we have or people who have joined in recently. Each one of them come with their unique strength. So right now, our website work is going on. I have no clue on what's happening. It's a team which takes care. Aditya, who manages funds, he's the guy who's leading our COVID responsibility along with my wife. Preeta does something else. Raj does take care of training. So you have to believe in people's responsibility, give them the responsibility and back out, and they will do their best. I think it's very important to form winning teams. Be very clear about who you want to get into the bus. At the same time, be ruthless about whom you want to let go. So I am a tough taskmaster. People who work with me have always said that, oh, behind the smiling face, he can be a ruthless taskmaster. When it comes to work, I think we have to be professionals and we say, yes, this is what is expected and deliver. Time, I think if we delegate it better, if we can delegate our responsibilities, a lot of things can happen. I don't think I've been ever so productive in the last 45, 50 days during this lockdown, right? Grueling hours of work. The foundation work is taking time. Webinars. This is incidentally the 27th webinar that I'm doing, and out of it, 17 or 18 are unique different topics. So this book is only of webinars. So for each of this webinar, you have to sit and prepare. You need to read, time for yourself, right? I've enrolled for about 4 or 5 certification courses, right? So it's been an exciting journey. So as long as you enjoy what you're doing, give it your best in that particular area, set process. More importantly, let go of responsibilities to people who they will enjoy doing it. And that's where you build world-class organizations.
Beautiful.
And to me, corporate success, Rajesh, I'll summarize, doesn't really matter about the designation. Even today, when I sign my name in Infosys, I only say Sujit Kumar, Human Resources. I don't add designations at all. It means nothing.
Beautiful. I think you covered it all. I thought I packed many questions into one, and I think your answer covered it all. And thank you very much for that. And the reason I also alluded to getting there is many of our volunteers, not just our volunteers, anybody who is stepping into, take some action towards something that bothers them in the society. Beyond just me, myself, and my family, kind of. After most of the times, hit that roadblock. One, it's either time, and two, it's either one suffers because of the other, and so on and so forth. I'm sure it would have been very helpful to all of them. So very quickly, it's a hi Anna from V Nanda. So she says, really beautiful session about our Matram family. So it's one of your students.
Must be one of my students.
Lieutenant Eason joins us saying, wow.
Oh, whatever.
A question from Vignesh.
Ethan should be doing the next session.
Hopefully, we'll reach out to him as well. A question from one of the participants: who is your inspiration for public speaking?
Okay, my biggest inspiration was late Dr. C.S. Ramachandran, who's an orthopedic, who's a general surgeon, was with Rotary. He was the Rotary governor in 1994, and I desperately wanted to get into public speaking only after seeing him on stage. He was called a superstar in the Rotary movement. A guy who's 6'4" tall, can blow over any kind of audience. He was also my first mentor, so he was my biggest inspiration to get into public speaking.
Nice, super. So one more question from Ravichandran. Sujit sir, how will you manage yourself to be an entrepreneur as well as an HR manager?
Okay, I've not got into entrepreneurship, though there's a lot of push from friends. But as I told you, it's a question of managing time, managing your priorities right. And at any given point in time, in future, if you have to give up to get something much larger, that should happen as well. So if suppose you want to get into full-time entrepreneurship, then probably a full-time corporate role might not work. So it's all about setting your priorities right. At this particular point in time, I think I'm able to manage these 2-3 different hats that I wear, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It's all about prioritizing your life.
Beautiful. Thanks, Sujit. So I also want to sort of would like you to touch a little bit upon, what Alert does basically. I think many of the things that you spoke about is completely applicable, probably not just to Alert, but anybody who's getting into the space of wanting to do some good, and probably institutional good. So many of our volunteers and people who get trained and certify themselves in first response, and the current times of COVID, honestly, I think has woken us up to some harsh realities. Right. So when the reason I say this is when when we meet people, it's sometimes, depending on the audience, it's quite an effort to let people know that you can make a difference. Probably sometimes it's either life or death for somebody when they are in an emergency. But I would think that COVID has sort of, in a way, if we were to look at some positive sides of COVID, it has woken us up to the fact that we just got to be ready. We just got to be prepared. So many of our volunteers and many of them, who are into first response and emergency care and emergency response, and in fact, I think a whole lot of health workers who have done some phenomenal work through the COVID days, right? We don't wish upon emergencies to happen to anybody, but when it happens, we hope that we can be the difference, right? When somebody is doing some good, there is also a little amount of gratification somebody looks for, some self satisfaction. இது பண்ணதுனால எனக்கு இன்னைக்கு நிம்மதியா போய் தூங்குனேங்கிறது. A cause of saving lives is, as you said in the right at the beginning, it is, you may or you may not. Many a times you may not get an opportunity to, which is good for somebody else. Somebody else was not in an emergency. So I would probably, love to hear your thoughts on, these volunteers who are, looking to help somebody in an emergency, and how relevant is what Alert does in COVID times and beyond COVID times, in normal life.
No, Rajesh, brilliant question. I think I started by saying that Alert as an organization is very unique, okay? And I don't think it's easy to even replicate what you guys are doing. You are in the life-saving space, right? It's like this: you pay medical insurance because you pay thousands of rupees as medical insurance. You don't want to get sick. You want to insurance கட்டறதுக்காக எனக்கு ஒரு வியாதி வந்தா நல்லா இருக்கும்னு nobody looks at it. You pay a vehicle insurance and you don't want to go bang your car somewhere because you paid a few thousand rupees as insurance, right? See, look at this. If a matram or an NGO which works on environment, நீங்க ஒரு மரம் வச்சா அந்த மரம் வளர்றத பார்க்கலாம். You can see the tree grow, and that is a gratification. In this space, our volunteers will be certified. They are ready, but you sincerely pray and hope that an emergency situation should not arise, right? Either to their near and dear ones or wherever it is. The biggest gratification can be how many more people can I inspire to get certified, so that when something happens around you, you are there to respond. The best example is this Thailand cave incident, which happened a couple of years back, when these 13 boys got stranded.
Right.
They got these British swimmers to come and rescue them.
Right.
And apparently the guy who led the entire expedition, when he was interviewed, he gave an example of how he specialized in cave diving, getting into this cave waters and diving, and he was ridiculed by so many.
Right.
Think, why are you doing this? You are never going to encounter this ever in your life. Why are you risking your life? And he says the 30 years of practice was put to that one incident of going and saving 13 lives.
Right.
I see alert volunteers just like that British person who I forgot the name, how he went and saved lives. So you wait for your moment to make a difference. But the fact that you took the step forward to get yourself certified itself, you are a hero. If you can train people around, if you can train the family members around, if you can train your domestic health, I think, see, today big changes don't need to happen worldwide. It just needs to happen at our doorstep first, in our community first. And that's what I want. I want to leave a message with alert volunteers, that the fact that you signed up as a volunteer itself, you are a hero. Like I had Krishna Prasad in my Matram team, was the first guy to go and get certified because he was passionate about it. He said, I want to get this certified. He wanted to go and train people. So it's more of a calling. Community work, volunteering is not about I give the disposable time. எனக்கு டைம் கிடைக்கும் போது நான் போய் வாலண்டியர் பண்ணுவேன். No, that's not how it is. You dedicate your time for an activity, and that is where you're going to make a difference. And when some incidents happens like that, I think if possible you should play the alert award function, the heroes, okay? And that's the only award function where audience goes to tears, right? Looking at our ambulance money, or this time when these guys, the small kids who walked up and he said, I have transformed life of 350 beggars around. I think these are real life heroes that our volunteers and the extended community have to see, right? So keep the larger purpose. Your moment of glory will come, but the fact that you are signed up itself, you're taking the right step forward, right?
Lovely. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Sujit. That's our endeavor as well as we move ahead. Your story, personally as a person, traversing through, keeping your eyes and ears open on the take diversion boards, picking your messages from there, listening to your inner voice, and then that leading to starting something as beautiful as Matram Foundation, through which so many students and so many families are getting benefited out of it, and all that is very inspirational. And all of us at Alert take a lot of inspiration from what you do otherwise. And we too recommit. Every time we listen to all of this, we sort of recommit ourselves to the purpose of why we are here for, ultimately to ensure that lives get saved, and all our volunteers, all our effort. Recently we also put together this network called Volunteers in Case of Emergency, that people can access, right? People can access through a mobile app. So all this towards, if there is a life out there needing help from somebody, I think it just has to be met with somebody who is out there to give, out there to sort of have that empathy and then take that step and make a difference in somebody's life. Always a pleasure talking to you, Sujit. We are just crossing an hour, so we will call this a close. And as always, pleasure talking to you. And we look forward to probably more sessions. Hopefully this, in a way, I think this lockdown has helped, because we are able to otherwise connect through these platforms. But I'm sure we will connect more in the future, and all our volunteers do want to listen to you more in person as well. So we will look for some such beautiful opportunities, and we wish you all the best. And you spoke about your PhD. We really would like to see Dr. Sujit soon. So wishes to you for that as well. Right? Thank you so much. Any signing off words from you? Most welcome.
No, Rajesh, it's always a pleasure. I think this is a great tribe of people to speak to, especially to alert volunteers, and that's the reason why I said when Kala actually gave me 3 options, 3 dates, I chose the first date and said let's do it this week. So you are signed up for a great cause. I think try and make that difference. This life is all about being an inspiration to somebody, and around this time, testing times, it's all more important that if you want to forget the entire talk, forget it, but just remember the word empathy. That's the only thing with which we are going to win this particular situation. So make a difference, I think, and lighten up as many lives as possible. And to all the members of Alert, thank you very much for having me over. It is fantastic to be part of this live webinar. I think it's absolute fun being here. Yeah. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Sujit. Thanks everybody who was watching this, leaving your comments. Once we close, the video will be available for any time to revisit and listen to this beautiful talk by a wonderful human being that we have right amidst us, from whom we can take a lot of lessons and a lot of positivity. Until next time we see at Alert Town Hall, we will stay connected through various mediums. Stay safe and happy evening. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Sujit.
Thank you.